In our previous class, we had been discussing about the technique, the quantitative technique that will be used in derivative, which is compounding. Now, in our discussion, we have understood that compounding is a concept which takes care of future value of money. Suppose if I invest 1 lakh, what is the value of that money maybe after 1 year or 10 years with the respective interest rate. So that was about compounding. Now the second quantitative techniques which is applicable to the derivative instrument is the concept of present value. Because we often say that when we make up an investment, it is the sacrifice of our present saving. I mean, present consumption. I could have used that for some, or maybe to buy something, or maybe to meet some of my demand, but I sacrifice that for future. So if I'm doing that, definitely I should be expecting something better than this, something higher than this. Otherwise, there is no point in making an investment today and waiting for maybe 10 years or 15 years and getting a money which has a value less than that. There is no point in that. So always when we are trying to make up an investment, we check whether the value of money is good enough to make this sacrifice. The value of money which I get in future is good enough to make up this sacrifice. So that is where the concept of present value comes. Okay, when I'm talking about the present value, it talks about no, what will be the value of money which I'm going, or the lump sum which I'm going to get after 10 years in a current perspective. Maybe I know that after 10 years I'm going to get 10 lakh. So what is the value of that 10 lakh in the present time, which is a concept called as present value concept of discounting. Now, there is one factor which is very much important when I'm looking into the present value concept. That is the discount factor. It is a factor, or as I say, the rate which I use to discount the money to the present. So it takes care of the depreciation. It takes care of the inflation in the money market. It also takes care of the other external environment that is going to affect the value of money. So discount factor is the factor which we apply to understand the present value of this money which we are expecting to earn at a future period. So this is very important because suppose if I'm talking about an investment of 1 lakh, after 1 lakh maybe for 5 years, the money which I get after 5 years should be compensating for my waiting period, my risk of waiting for 5 years. Because I'm actually an investor who is waiting for 5 years to withdraw that money. So there is a waiting time involved. At the same time, there is also another concept which is called as risk. I'm ready to take up that risk. I'm ready to invest, and that risk will depend upon the type of investment we make. Suppose if I'm planning for an investment as a bank deposit, the amount of risk would be comparatively lower than what I plan to invest in a capital market. Maybe if I'm going to make up an investment in shares, that risk would be much higher. So that component varies from investment to investment, but the waiting time is more or less equal. Right. So discount factor is a concept which takes care of both of these. That is my waiting time as well as my, as we call as the period of investment, the risk involved in that. So when I'm talking about the discounting technique, it is actually a technique which allows me to decide whether I should go for an investment or not. Right. It helped me to understand whether there is any return for my waiting period as well as for the risk involved in that particular investment. Right. So this is the concept of discounting, and it is pretty different from the compounding concept. Compounding just look into what is it I'm getting in future. What is it I'm eligible to receive in future at a particular interest? But here, this is little more into a reality where I'm looking at, I am, there is a possibility of me getting a cash flow in future. I want to know what is the possibility, what is the present value of that cash flow, and I can make a comparison between the other investment possibilities available to me, and I can go with an investment which is going along with my risk appetite as well as my return expectation. So discounting is nothing but it talks about the value of a cash flow in future at the present period. That is why I put calculating the present value of future cash flows from an investment. That is the concept of discounting. Now, when I'm talking about discounting, the very simplest form of or the very simple formula is what is what is value of 1 rupee with so and so interest, and that rate is the discount factor, right? Rate of return and NPV. Rate is actually rate of interest or otherwise discount factor, and N is number of years. So what is the value of 1 rupee in the nth period with so and so discount rate? That's the simplest formula for discount factors. That is why we put it as 1 by 1 plus R raised to N. Even in today, when I'm looking at on today, when I'm looking at 1 by, suppose if it is 1 rupee and if it is 10% is as my discount factor, the value of 1 will be little lesser than the value of 1 today. Maybe after 1 year, if I'm looking at 1 year, the period is 1 year. Still, after 1 year, what I'm getting would be much lesser than the whole sum of 1. That is because normally we are used to a scenario of decrease in the value of money because of inflation and because of many other factors that are prevailing in the economy. So value of 1 rupee after 1 year would be much lesser than what it is today. So that is the concept of discounting technique. So that's why we have put the basic formula as 1 by 1 plus R raised to N, where R is interest, rate of interest, and N is number of years. How many years you are taking to get that amount? If it is 5, you will put that as 5. If it is 1, we will put that as 1. Right. Now, the second thing which we need to understand is there are 2 types of inflows which we can expect in future. Okay. The first one talks about the lump sum. I am able to get maybe 10 lakh after 5 years. So that is a future value of 10 lakh, which I'm talking about present value of 10 lakh at say if the discount factor is 5% after 10 years. That's lump sum, one whole sum amount. Right. Then there are other conditions which are normal to the present condition, where I am getting a series of cash flows. Say, for example, I'm going to invest in a business and I expect the return of my business in series. In the first year, I expect that I'm going to get a profit of 3 lakh. In the second year, I'm expecting that I'm going to get a profit of 3,50,000, or maybe it goes on like that. So that is a series of cash inflows or cash flows happening at different years, right? So the value of maybe if I'm getting equal cash flows, say for example, every year I expect 1 lakh as my profit for the next 5 years. Still, the value of 1 lakh which I've earned after first year is never equal to the value of 1 lakh which I might be earning after second year, and the value of money which I am earning 1 lakh after second year is never equal to the 1 lakh which I'm earning after 3 years. It is much lesser. The amount which I'm getting in the third year is much lesser than what I'm getting in the second year. The value of money is lesser. So that's why that series of cash inflows is what we call as annuity. At regular intervals, equal amount at regular intervals, it's called as annuity. Right. So there are 2 types. One is, if we want, we can say that as 3 types also. One is lump sum, which we expect in future. Second one is cash flows at regular intervals. right? And second one is, a third one is equal cash flows at regular intervals, which we call as annuity. In this case, in this example, which is in front of you, it is not regular cash flows, it is not annuity. But when you have a situation like this where you have 5 years and after 1 year you are getting an inflow of 3,000, after the second year you are getting an inflow of 4,000, after third year it is 5,000, fourth year it is 6,000, and fifth year it is 7,000. So these are my inflows. Now what I would like to know is, what is the value of these inflows in the present period, in the zeroth period? So that's what we call as the present value. So naturally, there are two ways in which we can do. One is we can take the present value factor, PV factor from our table, PV log table. We can take the value, and this 0.909 indicates that 0.909 indicates that the value of 1 rupee is depreciated after 1 year to 0.909. That's what it says. After 2 years, the value of 1 rupee is 0.826. So that's depreciating. After fifth year, the value of 1 rupee is 0.621 at 10%. If I'm expecting the discount factor, the rate of interest to be 10%. Maybe if it is 15%, the value would be much lower than that. If it is 5%, the value would be higher than this. At 10%, this is the kind of depreciation in the value of money which we expect after 1 year or 2 year or 3 year. Right. This is something which I'm taking from the present value table. Okay, present value table for uneven cash inflows based on interest, rate of interest, as well as year. For first year at 10%, I will take this from the table and I can just simply multiply with this. Okay, this is my first option. 3,000 into 0.909 will give me the value of 3,000 after 1 year. 4,000 into 0.826 will give me the value of 4,000 after 2 years. 5,000 into 0.751 will give me value of 5,000 after 3 years. Same as the case with 6,000 and 7,000. When I add up all that, I will get the present value of series of cash flow today in the present time period. That is one method where I'm just looking up, I'm taking the value from my present value uneven cash inflow table. Right. Now there is another where I have an option where I directly go with the formula. The formula, as I know, it is 1 by 1 plus r raised to n. So here this 1 becomes 3,000 because my cash inflow is 3,000 for the first case. So 3,000 by 1 plus 0.10 because it is 10% raised to 1 at the end of first year. I'm going to get this 3,000. Right. It will be plus 4,000 by 1 plus 0.10 raised to 2 plus 5,000 by 1 plus 0.10 raised to 3 plus 6,000 by 1 plus 0.10 raised to 4. And the last one, 7,000 by 1 plus 0.10 raised to 5. When I total up, I should get the same answer. Right? I should, because I'm going with the same thing, but in two different methods. So there are two options for me. Either I can use a formula. It's a lengthy process. From a university exam point of view, you can actually take it from the present value table. You can just multiply it and you can get the answer. But the concept is this, that what is the value of 1 rupee after 1 year or 2 year or 3 year, which is dependent on the discount factor. Right. Now, if I am saying that the expected depreciation is very high, my rate of interest would be huge. Discount factor or discount rate would be high, depending on that present condition that is prevailing in the economy. Now, the same thing which I said is, there is another concept called present value of annuity. When I'm expecting a regular cash inflow, equal cash inflow at regular intervals, that's what I call as annuity. There also, one method is you can directly use the formula and do it. That is, here R is your cash inflow. Suppose for every year I get an inflow of 10,000 for the next 5 years. So what I can do is 10,000 by 1 plus r raised to 1 plus 10,000 by 1 plus r can be 10%. Assume that it is 10%. In that case, it would be 10,000 by 1 plus 0.10 raised to 1 plus 10,000 by 1 plus 0.10 raised to 2, 3, 4. It carries for how many years? That's one method of doing that directly using the formula, which is a lengthy method. The same you can do it using Excel also. It's very simple. You can drag it. You can give the value. You get the answer. It's very easy for you to do with the Excel, but for your university purpose, you have to do it manually. That's why I will at a later stage I will show you how to go with doing that in an Excel. And then the second method which you can do is you can easily multiply that with the annuity discount factor from the annuity table which you get in case of even cash inflows. Okay, you have ADF table in your log. From that, what you have to do is you have to look up what is the interest and for how many years. Suppose if my annuity is for 5 years, I have to check up 5 years. Which is consecutive to the interest rate, the rate of interest. Suppose if my interest is 10%, so I have to take the value from annuity discount table, taking I, that is 10% for 5 years. Same as you did for your compounding, you can do that. But only thing is that the table is different. ADF table is different from what you take for the present value table. Continuous series, no? So that is different, but you have to be very careful that if it is an annuity, your value is being taken from the annuity discount factor table, or you can manually do it, which is same for uneven cash inflows as well as even cash inflows, using the formula 1 by 1 plus r raised to n. That's the basic formula. That's why I introduced you with that concept at the beginning. So this is the concept of present value. I repeat, present value talks about what is the present value of a future earning which you are expecting to receive maybe after 5 years or 10 years. And for computation of that, there are two things which you have to take care. The first one is the discount factor or the rate of interest, and the second one is number of years within which you are going to get the cash flow. And then cash flow, we said that it can be basically 3 types. One is lump sum, which you expect after so many years. What is the value of that lump sum in today's maybe perspective? What is the value as of now? What is the value of that money? Then the second one is it can be uneven cash inflows that happens in different periods. Maybe I'm going to get 3,000 after 1 year, 4,000 after second year, 5,000 after third year, like this. These are called as uneven cash inflows. There also I have 2 ways of doing it. One is taking the discount factor from the present value table, or manually using the formula, the elaborate formula, that is 1 by 1 plus r raised to n. And then the third one is annuity, which is nothing but equal cash inflows. Okay, cash inflows for a stipulated pay, maybe for 5 years or 10 years. There also I have 2 methods. One is I can go with computation using the formula, or the second one is I can take the discount factor from the annuity discount factor table using I and as you say n. I is same as the r. In certain cases it is used, that's why I've used both. I is interest rate itself, R is also rate of interest. It's nothing but the discount factor which incorporates the rate of depreciation, the other inflation rate, or the government policy of liquidity. All these are incorporated into that particular rate when we are taking it up from the economy for discounting the money. And also it might be different from one economy to another. It might be different for United States of America and India for the same period. It depending upon the kind of financial system they are having, the efficiency of the system, all these, right? So this is the concept of annuity, I mean a concept of present value. Once again, compounding is a concept which talks about what is the future value of an amount, which maybe you are investing that in different series or in a lump sum. Suppose if I'm going to invest 10 lakh today, what is it I'm going to get after 10 years? That's compounding. Now, discounting is nothing but I know that after 10 years, I can get a lump sum of 10 lakh from my bank deposit. Now, I want to know what is the value of that 10 lakh today. That's a concept of PV, or present value. Right. Now, there is an exercise which we are going to do. So you may take down the question. In between, if you would like to ask me something, please ask.